Well, if you are watching this video, you must have heard or read about Redwire. Whether you are a new investor or an old one, you might wonder about the company's future growth. Now, let's start by saying that Q1 changed completely the narrative, because now this is one of the most promising bets in whole Wall Street. I bought some of the stocks at $8 back during the peak of the crisis, the Middle Eastern crisis, but I'm also a daily trader because I believe both in the long-term perspective of the company, but I also observe the incredible swings that make some investors feel pain, but at the same time, these represent honey for daily traders. But in this video, guys, I'm gonna talk about the main revenue channels of Redwire and why I believe this stock has a 10x potential. This is the second episode about Redwire series. I have already published the first one, which was focusing more on the pure financials of the company. So if you have missed it, make sure to watch it. Now, going back to us, why do I believe Redwire has a tenfold potential? Let's look at the company revenues channels. Redwire revenue model is structured in two different segments. The first is defense tech, where the company makes money by selling tactical UAVs such as the Stalker and Penguin, radio frequency payloads, and optical sensors. The second one is space, which includes spacecraft platforms, rovers, software, integration, video, of course, space power generation such as the roll-out solar array, such as the ROSA and its second generation, the ELSA, in-space manufacturing, microgravity research, which is quite a big thing lately, and other space infrastructure products. Now, the reason why I believe Redwire has 10x potential is buried in the numbers behind the market segments in which the company operates. Well, I've created this overview, maybe it's a little bit messy, but it's showing current revenues across all of the market segments, the market size for those segments, its growth rate, and Redwire market share at the moment. You will also see highlighted in dark color the separation between space segments and defense tech segments. The most interesting numbers, of course, are that, as we knew already, that Redwire is essentially a monopolistic market presence in VLEO, which I would say kind of contributed to develop. But it holds also nearly 25% of the in-space manufacturing market share. Now, what this table is showing is, especially in the column on the right, is that the current market segment growth rate is quite interesting across all the segments. But this is also essentially the metric telling us how the demand will increase potentially. I also argue here that even if Redwire would not increase for none of the segments, and let's say for the sake of arguments, its market share, the revenue growth would still be remarkably high and would lead to crazy increases in the stock price. Assuming that is true, Redwire defense tech sector revenue would increase averagely 11.1% year over year until 2032. The space sector, on the other hand, and its revenue, of course, would increase over 13.7%. Well, if we average this growth, the growth of the space sector and the one of defense tech, we can assume Redwire revenue growth to a robust yearly growth of over 12%, and that's quite interesting. In numbers, that would mean a growth of, let's say, for 475 million estimated for 2026. This is the midpoint between the 450 and the 500 million. Let's hope to break that to about 760 million in 2030. God willing, and that's almost double, is 1.6 times more. Now, what makes me believe in the price growth is that with increasing revenue, assuming also the net income will increase according to the forecast, comes also an increasing EPS. And you can see from the chart here, it shows the consistent growth year over year. Based on my analysis, EPS will turn positive in 2027 and will reach $1 by 2031. That takes into considerations extra shares dilution, potential future acquisitions, and fishing from the famous $350 million shares shelf. Obviously, when the company will start to show this positive trend, a lot of investors will be attracted, many people will be interested to know more, many Yahoo Finance articles will be written, and the success story will act as a magnet for all the retail capital. This whole amount of hype will attract all the capital required to pump up the price, and I believe that price is $50. And my guess is that that could happen anytime between 2030 and 2032. But it's also important to notice that all these analyses and those huge assumptions depend highly on the fact on whether new future acquisitions or collaborations or launch of new products or service lines will be funded through the company's cash flow or through the issuance of new shares, for example, the famous $350 million share count. But just to be fair with the company, we are also considering, in my analysis, if you remember, extremely conservative and even I would say pessimistic, a constant growth rate across all the single segments of Redwire. Therefore, we are not even considering, for example, in sectors where Redwire is an absolute leader, has established almost a monopolistic level of presence in the market, it will not expand its market share. Well, this is a very negative assumption, and I'm sure I am 100% wrong. So this model is stress test for this condition, and I'm pretty confident that we can reach $50 any time between 2030 and 2032. And most importantly, also the company has transitioned, as we have seen during the management call of Q1, from a low margin R&D on demand model to a high margin production approach. This is the most important part, because obviously EBITDA, gross margin and net income will grow way faster than they were growing before. Well, that is all for the second episode of Redwire series. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what do you think about. Positive and the negative comments are always welcome in terms of feedback, as long as it's constructive and productive, and most importantly, respectful. I really appreciate all the community on X, guys. Thank you so much, because we are creating something very beautiful. There is a high degree of exchange of information. So keep pushing the price up. We are going to the stars. We are going to go to the moon, and probably we are going to go to Mars as well. Thank you so much.